you ain't getting the job. Because who couldn't do that?
Everybody's doing that.
Your cousin could do it. Anybody could do it. Somebody with no training can go in and read lines. I mean, one of the funniest things to me about when people are trying to figure out what it is that we're doing is that they think it's about... Hello, baby.
You want to go back?
It's like the best class ever!
So Richard, I know you don't remember starting out, and everybody here is starting out.
I remember everything.
So what's the best advice you could give them about starting out? What are the trials and tribulations you ran into?
First of all, I had no tribulations. And I mean it. And when I started, I was 9, and I knew for a certainty that I was going to make it. And I never had a scintilla of doubt. And I loved being unemployed, and I loved being employed, and I was in it for the whole life. And that's, if you can get there, take it. And most of my friends, you know, didn't know and doubted themselves and all that. I didn't have a millisecond of that. And so I started in 1 line and 2 line and things like that. And then I got better. And I got better parts. And I remember I was on an audition and they were late. And when I went the other way to get a drink of water, I came back and they said, "What are you keeping us waiting for?" And I lost my temper. I said, "What the fuck are you talking about? You've been keeping us waiting for 45 minutes. And they dragged me into the room and they said, "Okay, Richard, tell us what you've done." And I said, "No, you know what I've done, God damn it." And I got kicked out. And I realized as I walked to the car that that feeling was better than if I had gotten the part. And so I began to turn down work before you're supposed to do that, like with 1 line or 2 line. And my friends took me out to lunch and they said, "You're going to get blacklisted, man. You can't keep doing this." I said, "It's going to make me a star." They said, "Really? How?" I said, "Because they're going to say, well, let's see what he does if we offer him this." And that's exactly what happened. I did TV for 11 years, and I loved being on the unemployment line, and I loved being in theater groups. And I was in an improv group from the time I was 13 to the time I was 19, and we started to improvise full evenings of theater. And we had a big following in West LA. And then I was a member of Theater West, which is all professional actors. And I loved to act. I had like a nuclear pellet right there. And I loved to act. I didn't care where. And then I started to make features and do important theater when I was about 25. And that was 9 years ago. And that's it. And I admire you for wanting to take this on because it's not easy.
No. No, and things have changed. And one of the things that's different for the people in this room that I actually appreciate is when I moved here, one of the things that I had to give up was turning down parts. Because we're in a secondary market here, there are far fewer parts, and they're usually the leftover parts. They're the one-liners and the, you know, they came in the room, they did this thing, and they left kind of stuff. And so after, like, for example, after I did Django, which was like this big part, big movie, Academy Awards, all the whole thing, right? I'm Leo's sister, it's all great. Next thing I went in for was 2 lines in a movie, and, you know, and I happily went in for it. I have insurance that needs to happen, I have, you know, my dental needs to happen, and my retirement needs to happen. These are practical, real concerns. And when I lived in LA, in the beginning especially, I turned down a Steven Seagal movie, I turned down Murder at 1600. But, and I liked, I considered that if, as long as my bills were minimally paid, that I had FU money, you know, that I could walk away from anything. Here, I feel very different. Here, The joy of it has been, though, that I've ended up playing parts I would never have played, doing things I would never have done if I had just been, you know.
Have you done theater here?